Welcome to Album vs. Album. What's up, everybody?
What's up?
What's going on, Wayne?
No. Hey, are you ready to go? What are you doing?
I'm like setting up.
Anyway, welcome back, Dave. David Boyd from Twisted Tower Dyer. What's up?
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It's been a while since you've been on.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. Good picks too.
Oh, thank you. Took a couple of choices. I kept picking albums that you guys had done recently, and I think my last one was Sanctuary Forbidden, and Wayne's like, we just did that last week.
Yes, it was funny how we just did that literally. I think the day before, or yeah, like you said, maybe a week before. But it was funny. You picked one that we just did. That was fun. Actually, and then you picked another one, and we just did that one too. I think, right?
Yeah.
So
I think it was Megadeth and something else. I can't remember what it was, but yeah.
But yeah, it was funny. And then you brought up these two, which is you guys got them as well. Coroner, No More Color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really good picks.
And Nate and Greg were both very excited that you picked these albums.
Very pleased.
Oh, good.
Yes.
I'm excited too.
Yeah. So why did you pick these albums?
I picked these two. Well, they came out the same year, I believe. And they're definitely two records that I listened to when I was a kid. I had on cassette, and I'd listen to in my car, driving around to high school, cranking it up. And I just remember having good times listening to them. And the Kreator album, I think, is kind of a interesting one in their lineage as a band because, well, we can talk about it, but
it's like a tight Kreator album.
Yeah, it's like the first one where I felt like the performances were really good, and
it's what I want Kreator to sound like. It sounds like Darkness Descends.
Yeah, I agree, but I think a lot of people appreciate the older stuff because they like the gaminess of it and the slightly edgy production. But I felt like somebody really put them in the studio and kind of like put them nose to the grindstone and kind of forced them to play this good stuff they'd written well in the studio. And that's my feeling anyway, just listening to it. So yeah, like you said, it's like a clean sounding album. You can actually hear what they're doing and stuff. And then you watch live takes of the same songs, and you're like, oh, it sounds like old Kreator, but
right. And I mean, this is my favorite Kreator album, even though my favorite Kreator song is Flag of Hate. Like, this is just Kreator. It's like if Slayer weren't like as musically talented as they were, like due to Dave Lombardo, it'd be like Seasons of the Abyss.
Mm-hmm.
Like how that's kind of more of a more thought out songwriting.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of Kreatorisms, like that riff Mila uses in every fucking song, like he fucking recycles that riff. It's like Joel Grind in Toxic Holocaust. He just recycles the same fucking chord pattern.
Yeah. It's a catchy little riff too. You can dance to it if you want to.
But they utilize a lot better on this album. Like, I hear a lot of two steps behind it, and that's always how I've wanted it to sound.
Yeah. Terrible Certainty is my personal favorite Kreator album, but what is so good about this one is, they kept the technicality of Terrible Certainty, but it's much more streamlined. It sounds better. They dropped the needless brutality and really made a razor-sharp thrash record with this.
Yeah, it's like Razor, actually.
Like who?
Yeah.
Razor.
Oh, yeah. That's funny. I didn't think of that,
Razor,
but you're right.
Canadian player, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
But
another reason I thought it was really interesting you picked these two is both of these records kind of represent a really pivotal point in the evolution of both bands. This is Coroner taking their really straight thrash style as far as they possibly could, and Kreator too, because the next two albums for both bands just encompassed and integrated all kinds of different shit into the music.
Yeah, Coma of Souls is the last good Kreator album, in my opinion. Everything else is just kind of...
I disagree there. I really like some of the weird shit, but...
It's like Death Angel. It's okay, but it kind of bores me. There's not enough going on.
Yeah, I remember when Renewal came out, and and it seemed like everybody thought it was weird and didn't like it. They, turned them off. And my friend Mark was like the one guy I knew was like, "Oh, I love this album. It's great." And like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? It sounds like shit compared to the old stuff. And I honestly have not listened to that probably in 10 years. Like, I'm kind of curious to go back and hear it again and see what I think about it now. But back then it was like, Millie definitely was singing differently, and he blamed it on like bad air conditioning in hotel rooms. I read in some article, and all these excuses and stuff. When really they just should have said, "Hey, we want to record a different sounding album," and it didn't go well. And all right, we're gonna go back to normal.
I actually like Cruel too. That was my second Kreator album, by the way.
Yeah.
By the way, Satan is Real is the same chorus as Pleasure to Kill. Just gonna throw that up there. It's literally the same fucking chorus.
So what? As long as they didn't steal from somebody. It's the
Mila is kind of lazy,
steal from
and that's
yourself.
why I like the other three of the Teutonic Four a lot more. Speaking of which, I just got Sodom's Persecution Mania from Amazon today, and that's who's playing guitar on this album, which is why the solos are actually good.
Yeah, I will agree.
Yeah, there was like he didn't get. There's some weird thing about him not getting credit, Frank not getting credit for playing on it, or like I think they switched guitar players like right during the recording of this, I believe.
Yep.
So I think the old guitar player got credit, but he played on it, or vice versa, or something weird.
He didn't do anything on the album.
He didn't do anything. Okay, so it was vice versa. Yeah.
Right.
He just sat in for the picture.
Yeah.
Right. I
He's on.
hear Sodom in this album too, and I like that. It's just that more competent brutality.
They recorded it once completely in Germany with Trize, but the band hated how it sounded, and he wasn't interested in playing in the style that they wanted to move into. So they separated with him and replaced him with Blackfire from Sodom.
So you think Blackfire actually played on the
Yeah,
ended up being the actual recording? Okay, but not the first one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's why the solos are good.
Yeah.
Solos before this were basically Kerry King tier.
Right.
Yeah, they're kind of like the European Slayer. I mean, that's how I always thought of them as a kid.
I always thought of them,
Yeah, they really
I
are.
thought of Sodom as the one that was Slayer, like way heavier.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about like the guitar leads that are completely out of key until they land on a note, and then it's in the right key, and everything in between is like.
I'm thinking like the choruses though.
I love that in like Toxic Trace, for example, though, David. Sometimes it just works beautifully because of the sheer bizarreness of the whole thing.
It really does. It's really all about starting on the right note and ending on the right note, and then in between you can pretty much, if you're playing fast enough, you just and then a key, and you hit the right note, and you're good to go.
David Vincent is like if Kerry King was a competent guitar player. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Maybe.
When David Vincent plays lead.
Sure. If you say so.
Yeah. Whatever. I'd have to go back and listen
like,
to it. I haven't
Like all
never thought of that before, and I haven't listened to
Solos of
Morbid
Ultimate
Angel in a
Madness, They
while.
remind me like of Kerry King, but they're competent.
Yeah. Okay.
Bring that up. I don't know.
I see what you're getting at. Yeah.
It's all the same kind of style flowing through here. Because I mean, Kreator's an obvious influence on both death and black metal. So.
Mm-hmm.
But like what we were talking about with the solos, that was something that always bothered me with like the old Kreator stuff. None of them ever made any. Why?
Well, they were a three-piece for a while too. So Millie was, playing the rhythm parts and then playing the leads and then trying to sing. He probably just thought like the leads are the least important parts. So I'm just going to fudge all that shit and make sure the vocals.
Max Cavalera on the first Sepultura releases.
Yeah.
But I think
For every live solo Vinnie Vincent has ever played.
I think Extreme Aggression was probably maybe the fourth probably the fourth album I heard of Kreator. And I just seeing the album cover, like compared to the other album covers I was talking to Nate about,
Yeah.
this is like the worst album cover.
When you edit this, put the other album cover up instead of
It
this.
if I had the other album cover. All right, but yeah.
No, I mean just take a PNG of it online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard about that cover, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's got a guy in the mirror, and the mascot is like coming out of the skull or something like that, and there's a guy like looking into the mirror. It's a way cooler album cover than this boring.
He's ripping his face off, looking in the mirror, and the mascot's underneath.
Gnarly.
Okay.
But yeah, when I saw this, I'm just like, when I see like bands on the album covers, sometimes I'm just like, all right, this might not be a great album. No offense to you. You guys were on the front covers of your album covers, but they were different. They were drawn and they were cool looking. You know?
I have to say, though, with the way Epic Records was trying to push this at the time in America, it makes sense why they went with the band picture, because it's more marketable. Because as cool as the concept is for that original cover, it is kind of shittily drawn. You know, it doesn't look as professional, I guess.
Funny,
so I
1990.
Yeah. So I understand why they did it.
Right. It just looks better.
I don't know. I think of like album covers at that time: Scream Bloody Gore and Altars of Madness, and
none of that shit's on a major label, though. This was on a major label, and they were actually pushing them, put up money to record a live video and a video for MTV. You know.
Okay, yeah, this is their debut on a major label. Okay.
But usually when you look for bands, you look for cool album covers. I wouldn't pick this out, you know.
Right.
But when I finally got to listen to it and everything, I was a little bit disappointed because my favorites like Greg, Terrible Certainty and Pleasure to Kill. That's another one of my favorite ones. And then hearing this one, it's so clean. Like you guys were talking about before, it's so clean sounding. It kind of bothered me a little bit.
No, I like being able to hear all the instruments.
See, I don't.
See what and this was actually the first one I had, like on vinyl, personally owned. I had heard them before this, but I like it because it's almost a dry clarity. It doesn't really rob the instruments of their power in any way, but you can hear everything great.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a little bit more they're a little bit more restrained and concise in their approach, and it sounds a little crossoverish in some parts. I think touring with DRI for Terrible Certainty really had an effect on Millie and his songwriting.
I always think it sounds like Handle with Care.
It does sound a lot like Handled with Care, which, I mean, riffs and shit aren't similar, but it's in the same... It
came out the same year, didn't it? Or did Handle with Care come out in 89?
Yeah, it came out the same year. Both of them came out in 89.
Okay, I thought this one came out in 88 for a sec.
Nope, that would have been Out of the Dark into the Light.
1 year later, Violence, Oppression of the Masses, my favorite Violence album, sounds a lot like this too.
Same thing. Yeah, they kind of cleaned up their sound. They're trying to, you know, all the thrash guys are like, we can be Metallica. Let's make some money, boys. You know.
But it's
like 2 years later,
is better. It's more rhythmically pleasing. Everything's lining up better.
Yeah, I guess.
More mosh-tastic. Is that what you mean?
There's just a better groove to it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, more mosh-tastic, right?
Right. Yeah. The more mosh-tastic, the better.
But yeah,
no problem with that.
This is my least favorite Kreator album.
Really?
You're a wiener.
Wayne wants to make sure we know that.
Wayne, curious, out of the original run or just overall?
Out of the original run. Overall,
okay.
That's a little more reasonable.
Another album or two that's like, you know, a little iffy. But, original ones, this just... It's just I need some more reverb. I need some more bass in the music. It just kind of kills it for me. It's too clean.
No,
thrash album.
The chugging though.
That is one thing that bothers.
The darkness descends, and you'll understand this album a lot more. This is a more American thrash album.
Right.
The one thing that bothers me about the bass is it does disappear a little bit during some tracks. I noticed that. I never noticed that before until today, and I was like, huh, what the fuck?
There are good songs. You're the low end of the guitar, so I'm okay with it.
There are good songs. Extreme Aggression, Love Us or Hate Us, Some Pain Will Last.
Yes.
Some of these songs they still play live.
Betrayer is fucking awesome.
Right.
Bringer of Torture is gnarly.
Yeah. But
I don't think there's a bad song on this. Some Pain Will Last goes on a little long, but other than that,
yeah.
Some of these songs just aren't as catchy as some of the older. I like Coma Souls. It just was like song after song was like so awesome, and even Terrible Certainty just had good song after good song after good song. This one I can like probably get rid of.
No, see, Coma of Souls is more like Act 3 by Death Angel. I'm kind of bored. I mean, it's good. It's just not punchy enough for me.
It's fine. That's you. You're allowed to like.
Shut up, you dirty Jew.
Thank you. During these times, you gotta talk like that.
Nate, you made the PC baby cry.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean is gonna clean up my language here. Wash my mouth out with soap.
Yeah. All right, David. You got anything else to talk about with Extreme Aggression?
Well, I think some of the lyrics are kind of goofy. I mean, I remember thinking that when I was a kid. Like, I'm looking, I've got a list of the songs next to me, and like, No Reason to Exist, you know, it's like, no reason to exist, and then he goes, there has to be a reason to exist. And you're like, make up your mind, Melly, what the fuck are you talking about? You know? There's weird stuff like that I always wondered when I was a kid. Is it really just kind of like they, you know, translated it into English and it just didn't come through right, or are they just, is it just kind of goofy to begin with? I don't know. It's not too bad, but there's definitely an overtone of kind of some silliness in some of the lyrics. I still love them all.
Translated lyrics.
Yeah. They're great, but there are some weird moments on this, and I wonder if it is translation now that you bring it up. Like on Stream of Consciousness, the fucking chorus line is just so goddamn long. I mean, he must shout out 2 fucking sentences toward just in rapid succession. It's like, really?
Yeah. I think Sepultura suffered from that too a little bit too with the translation thing where you know, they're trying to translate from Portuguese to English, and it, you know, certain parts you read the lyrics and you're like, huh, that's interesting.
I found some Sarcophago lyrics. If you are a false, don't entry because you'll be burned and died.
My favorite.
I love Sarcophago.
My favorite one is by a Japanese band called Doom, and when they translated the title over to English for this compilation, I forget how it should actually be translated, but the basic way they did it, it came out, "You end!" 2 exclamation points. Get up, you.
That's pretty goofy too.
Emo tier just off, you know?
As if metal wasn't entertaining enough. Now I got this stuff too.
That's right.
That reminds me of that Japanese grindcore band, Flatigious Idiosyncrasy and the Dilapidation.
Jesus Christ.
Like this 80-pound Japanese girl doing these unbelievable gutturals over like 1 kick drum grindcore. It's fucking gnarly. If you like early Carcass, check it out.
Oh, cool.
Anybody else want to think for
one last tidbit. The chorus for Love Us or Hate Us was actually used as an intro to a radio show on Los Angeles' KNAC for many years.
Oh, cool.
Rest in peace, KNAC.
Yep.
Still got a webpage, though, so still alive in some format. Like modern shit for me, though.
I don't know if you guys heard, but this is Wayne's least favorite Kreator album. I just want to make sure everybody heard that.
Thank you, David. Excellent.
For all those who care, the human thumb hates this album.
Burn! Yeah, I really got to disagree with you here, Wayne. This is one of their best.
It's okay. I'll let you have it.
It's their Seasons in the Abyss. Yeah,
there's many more Kreator albums that are better than it to me.
I keep stumbling on Seasons in the Abyss because the title track of that album sounds like it should be on South of Heaven.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
But
No more.
No more color.
Dave, why did you pick this album? What do you love about this album?
well, you guys do
It's got-
that.
Well,
Oops.
Greg original and
I'm
Dave
gonna put some stuff in the oven.
master.
Well, and my dog's freaking out. Yeah, the way I found out about Coroner was, I think it was this particular album. I was in visiting my grandmother in Ohio in this really small town. It was boring as hell, and I went into this place called Big Wheel, which is kind of like a discount place, kind of like, well, I guess kind of like Kmart or something like that. This is years ago. And immediately, as I do in all these places, went straight to the music section to see what they had, expecting Kenny Rogers and bullshit like that. And I was surprised to find they had a pretty good cassette collection of metal records, a lot of European stuff too, a lot of things I hadn't heard before. And I came across that, and I never even heard the band before. I looked at the picture and the cover and everything. I was like, I'll spend $9 in this, whatever. Had my shitty little Walkman back at her house, and took it back and started listening to it. And the first song started, and the drums come in. I'm like, oh, this is all right. And then the guitar starts coming in with this crazy alternate picking pattern. I was just like, what the hell is this? Like, it was just technical prowess exploded in my ears, and I couldn't believe it. And there were 3-piece, which I thought was cool because I can, just having that much of a crazy intensity to them being a 3-piece. I'm a fan of 3-pieces anyway, but yeah, it just blew my mind. I went back and got the earlier stuff, and then I was real excited when Metal Vortex came out, and that was pretty good. And then Grin came out, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, getting kind of weird. But I feel like this is like in my mind anyway, their writing evolved through the first 3 albums, but this is kind of like the first one that was recorded well. It had some weirdness to it, some kind of like almost mathy properties, which I kind of like too.
This is like where they get really complex.
Yeah. And not to say they went downhill from here, but they kind of took a left turn or a right turn or however you want to, portray it. But yeah, and I had this tape in my car. I remember it was one of like 3 I would just play all the time, and I put it on the dash once and went to a friend's house. When I came out, the tape had melted in the sun, like the case for it. And of course, I was losing my mind because I don't want to, spend another $10 or $11 on a tape. So my buddy and I got a blank cassette tape that had some garbage in it, and we unscrewed it. We unscrewed both of them and took the ribbon out of the Coroner tape and put it in the blank cassette tape, and it worked fine, of course. And we're like, fuck yeah, we got Coroner back. Super excited about that.
Awesome.
So. Before we get too deep into Coroner, I also forgot to mention the Kreator album sounds like a Sacred Reich a little bit. That one, I forgot that.
Okay, cool. We're talking about Coroner now.
Back to Coroner. This is like combining Kreator with Peace Cells, so I like it.
But have I told you lately that this is one of my least favorite Kreator albums?
Have I told you that you're a dirty, scheming little man?
But yeah, like
Verbal
you were
razor,
saying, David, they were always pretty technical. Always reminded me a lot of Celtic Frost and Bathory a little bit in that respect, and always loved it. But this record, everything just gets kicked up a notch. Even Ron starts playing with this 3-finger technique that allows him to double up the bass line, and it's just out of this world. And then Tommy's adding in all these arpeggios and tempo changes and weird time signatures. And
this
then
was weird enough to get my rhythm guitar player to like it. So
yeah, this is like the apex of technical thrash metal to me. I think this is the best tech thrash album ever recorded. I mean, they took it as far as they could go and then evolved into what they did on Mental Vortex.
Killing Technology, Peace Cells. God, there's a lot of good ones. I would say this is better than World Circus by Toxic, though, and that's a great tech thrash album too. I do rank it high, definitely in the top three. tech thrash albums.
That's okay. Sure, it's not your first time being wrong, but
Well, what Greg said about the bass is interesting because, I mean, I've always been a guitarist, so of course I'm like paying too much attention to the guitar and not enough to everything else going on. I don't think I realized how crazy of a bass player Ron was until I got the Live in East Berlin VHS tape and watched that about 10,000 times trying to figure out the guitar parts to no avail. But just watching him beat on the bass, you know, like following a lot of the guitar lines, which are impossible to play with a pick pretty much, and he's just right along with him playing it. It's pretty impressive. And
it's like a German Cliff Burton.
Yeah. He was great. Yeah, that video, I watched that thing when I was a kid.
The way he's able
a lot.
Reminds me a lot of Cliff. Just the way he's able to boom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I actually wore out the copy I had of that video. I watched it so many times. You know, I discovered these guys right when I was about 16. My buddy's older brother had come over his house, and he was letting him burn all his CDs, and I saw the cover to Death Cult. I'm like, the hell is that?
Mm-hmm.
And I just went right from there. I love everything, even up to Grin. I think they did everything great, but this one was just something special. It was really different, very colorful in how everything's executed. Yeah. And then Last Entertainment is just such a neat little esoteric piece. It reminds me a lot of both Voivod and like something Warrior would have done on Into the Pandemonium.
Yeah, and I was kind of an anti-keyboard guy back in the face when I was listening to this, but it didn't even occur to me that, you know, to throw shade on the fact that they're using keyboards. It sounded good, you know. It all was part of the same composition, and it's the spoken word part's a little strange, but it works too, you know. Like the whole thing just works, and it's a good placement on the album, you know. And I never stopped it and flipped the tape over to listen to the other side early because I got bored with that song. I thought it was really good. I mean, this whole album is just every single song I love on it. There aren't a lot of albums where I can say that. Almost every song I like as much as the other.
Same here.
I think my second Coroner album. The only other one I listened to was Rest in Peace, which is also a great album. So, but I like this one more. It's better, objectively, because it's just as ripping. It riffs just as hard as any of their other albums before this. Mm-hmm. But it's insane in technicality.
I agree.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's Jeff Waters tier technicality. That's hard to be that high tier.
And just the way, I mean, and how it just jumps into it immediately on Die by My Hand. I mean, that is a crazy riff, but it's so unbelievably crunchy, too.
That reminded me of Annihilator, like the first album, just the way it just spurts up the neck like that. That's fucking awesome.
And Mistress of Deception is awesome, too. I mean, I don't dislike any songs from this, but those are probably my two favorites.
And then I kind of like some of their more like their chainsaw riffs, like the bah, 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 like that kind of shit. Reminds me of Whiplash. I love that.
Yeah, like on No Need to Be Human and shit like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good shit.
I'm pretty Coroner. I've only listened to them maybe about 5-6 years. So I'm not very familiar with all the albums, and this is actually the first time I kind of like really listened to it more than once. So I got to, learn it a little bit more. And the more and more I kept listening to it, I never found a song that I didn't want to listen to again.
Right.
I didn't want to stop this album at all. I just wanted to keep listening to it, and listen to it all the way through. It's like there's not one bad song on it, as opposed to the Kreator.
Tunnel of Pain lasts a little long, but other than that.
But it's just it seems like everything that they did on this album, it works, and it should be there. There's no filler for any song. There's no filler on anywhere on this album. Just every song belongs on this album.
Yeah, and the drumming, like the jazz drumming on this album, this is like Oh, one thing I thought of, this is the album that like bridges Peace Sells and like Peace of Time by Atheist.
Right. I was gonna say, listening to this, I hear a lot of the early Megadeth and even Annihilator, like you mentioned.
Right. But this is the album that bridges Peace Sells to Peace of Time by Atheist. Like those in just jazz and brutality there. Yeah. It sounds a lot like both of them. Yeah. Like that, but those sweet pick riffs like that, Atheist does that all the time. And I'm sure they got it from Coroner.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, when I was younger, and really before I got into CDs or anything, there was a yard sale. My grandfather used to go to yard sales all the time, and he goes, I went to this one yard sale, and this woman said her son's got all these tapes that he wants to sell, so I'll take you over there later. So we get over there. I looked through all the tapes. I grabbed a bunch of stuff, and there was Coroner in there. I still remember it in the back, right, like it just happened, because I recognized the covers, because I always love the album covers. I love how they have the strip on the side, most of them and everything.
Yeah, that's very German.
Right. And so I saw the cassettes, but I knew I've heard the band, but just by looking at the covers at the time, I really wasn't into that style of music. I'd like the growling vocals and just, I wasn't really into thrash at the time. So of course I didn't buy them. They were only like maybe $1 or $2, and they had every single Coroner album. So if I would have bought them, I would have been more familiar with Coroner a long time ago than more recent.
For shame.
Good idea. I got a good sonic thrash idea out of this.
What's that?
Sorry. Exhumer Possessed by Fire versus Violent Force Malevolent Assault of Tomorrow. That'd be fucking gnarly.
No idea. I don't even know who knows.
Oh, you're missing out, Wayne. Either that or Holy Moses I Am versus Exhumer.
Yeah, you picked some really good albums.
These are fucking great, man.
I did want to say the one thing. The production is great on this, except for one thing. I think Ron's voice is a little too low on this album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, that's about the only thing that ever bothered me, because he's so much more forceful sounding on Punishment for Decadence. And, Pete Hinton really yanked up the guitars here a little bit too much.
I'm not complaining because it's vocals and thrash. It's not like it's Ride the Lightning or it's Reverb to Hell, despite that being my favorite album of all time. That's my whole problem with it.
I love the lyrics.
Or Pleasure to Kill,
And there's only two people that can do Tom Warrior well. Tom Warrior and Ron Broder. And I love that vocal style.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're a really good album. All right, anybody else want
to Facebook page Tom Warrior Og posting?
My favorite Tom Warrior intro is not any of the uhs or anything like that. It's when Into the Pandemonium starts with Mexican radio and he goes, "Hey!" It's like, what the fuck's going on here?
I love
but
that.
It ended up being awesome.
Heard that.
Yeah.
I also love it reminds me a lot of I love just non-sequential intros like that. I love when DRI does that too, like Bad Man. Where they have Kurt's dad just yelling at the band.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's how they got the name Dirty Rotten Imbeciles, is because of Kurt's dad.
When I bought my first, one of the best of, I think March with Thirst or whatever I think it's called, and every song starts with that A or O or whatever he does. And I'm like, does he do this in every song? And yeah, he did. But still, except Celtic Frost is awesome. All right, so what are we gonna rate? Let's do Kreator first, since we did Kreator first. 1 to 10. Or was it?
Can you do points? Like half numbers? Yeah. Okay.
Of course.
I'd probably give Kreator I think the Kreator album's a solid 8. Maybe I'm not giving it enough credit, but I do love it. I mean, it's one of my favorite thrash albums ever. I'm also leaving a little bit of room for Coroner because I prefer that one. So.
Yeah.
Right.
I really love Extreme Aggression, but I probably have to give it 8.5 because as much as I do like it, there are other Kreator albums I like a lot better.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth its weight, though. I feel like it gets derided a little bit too much because people really seem to have a problem with the clean production. But I really think it made them stronger as a writing unit. I just don't think they had progressed to the point that they would reach on Coma of Souls yet as far as their songwriting goes. They were still kind of figuring out what to do with their technicality.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, they obviously, got better on this album, but the songs to me just weren't there. And for that, I will have to give it a 7.
Fair enough.
I'll give it a 7 because there are songs I do like. I don't really hate it, but still one of my favorites. Nate?
The only one on that album that I don't think is as quality as the rest of the songs is maybe Bringer of Torture. It's not filler, but I don't know if it's because it's the shortest song on the record. It just kind of bursts in and out without really leaving much of an impression. It doesn't sound bad, but it's not particularly memorable.
Nate, where'd Nate go? All right, doesn't matter what. Oh, what are we going to give that?
No More Color? 10, easily.
Wow.
There isn't a single thing I dislike about that record. I just wish his vocals were a little bit louder. But, talking about tech thrash, this, and then Voivod's Killing Technology for me. Just two of my all-time favorite albums, and they both did something really different with the thrash genre, but didn't sacrifice any of the power or crunchiness of their original thrash approach.
Well said. Dave?
I think I'll give it a 10 too. I mean, it's one of my. It might be my most favorite thrash album. I'd have to think about that a little harder.
Ooh, that's a good question.
But it's up there. It definitely is one that has resonated probably more profoundly with me than any other one I could think of right now. Just because I listened to it about 10 million times and loved every note of it. So I can't not give it 10.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Even though I'm not too familiar with it yet, and I should be more familiar with it. Like I said, I found no flaws in this album, so I'm going to give it 10. It's a really good album.
Yeah, the more you listen to it, the more you'll discover the different things. And and
it's just amazing.
It's really cool.
For a 3-piece band to be doing the things that they did, it's amazing.
Yes, it is.
And play like they did. So, Nate, what do you think? Really? You don't say.
If he comes back here with a fucking frozen pizza.
Any day now, Nate.
What do you want, Puff the Magic Dragon?
What do you got for Kreator?
Kreator. My shirt. Look at that. Also, it's the only Teutonic Thrash shirt I own, but besides that.
What shirt is that?
Kreator.
I know that. Which one? For what?
It's just from the tour that they did Sabaton. It's got the wrong venue on the back.
What do you rate Kreator?
Oh, 10 out of 10.
10 out.
9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. It's not as good as Bonded by Blood or anything, but 9 out of 10.
Coroner. No more.
Also a 9 out of 10, but I choose Kreator as the winner.
Yeah. Well, sorry to say, Coroner's the winner, even though you can give whatever you want to give it. Coroner wins.
Remember me, you dumbass.
What? I know. But
I didn't catch that.
That doesn't mean that you shouldn't go out and buy both albums. Because they're both.
Yes, buy both albums.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Extreme Aggression was just recently, actually all the Kreator albums were just recently all reissued and remastered and remixed and all that shit. And they sound pretty cool.
Good remaster.
And they come
Best
with the
picture.
Live in East Berlin show as well.
And even the Coroners were remastered and re-released. So,
Yep. Yep, they remastered their whole back catalog, even Death Cult. And you should get every single one of those.
and I believe they're recording a new album.
Yep, they announced it in April. They are recording a new album this year.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that.
Like.
It's going to be interesting not having Marky on drums, but I've seen them twice since they reformed. Once the first show they actually played in America after they reformed down at the Maryland Death Fest, and that was awesome. And that was still with Marky. Oh, were you? That was great, wasn't it, David?
Yeah, it was great, yeah. That's the whole reason I went to the Death Fest that year, honestly. I mean, I was there
Me too.
for other bands too, but everybody's like, oh, who do you want to see? I'm like, Coroner, of course. Duh.
Dude, did you see this year's lineup that got quashed by the coronavirus? Did you see like Maryland Death Fest lineup for this year? Holy shit. Top 3 headliners are Bloodbath, Dismember, and Cancer. Violence and X-Hoarder are playing. Massacre. And there's still a lot more that I'm forgetting because I'm like high as shit right now.
Damn, Cancer. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love those guys. But anyway, I also saw them live with the new drummer Diego, and he's great. He's actually more technically proficient, I think, than Marky was. So I'm very, very excited for a new album from Coroner.
And what's going on with Twisted Tower Dire? We got a new album yet or what?
We're working on stuff. We're actually hopefully this won't distract us from new stuff, but we're kind of starting right now to go back and re-record tracks from each of our albums. I don't even know, not including the newest one, and not make it dark either. I don't think. I think it's basically the first album through Netherworlds, our first 4 albums.
Okay.
Basically the ones that Johnny didn't sing on because we still had Tony in the band, and we're a little better at playing and recording now, hopefully, anyway. So Mark's our drummer's doing a lot of the behind-the-scenes work with that now, trying to get started with doing the drum tracking and trying to kind of get everything set up. And we have a lot of ideas. We haven't really settled on what we're going to, like whose ideas we're going to use, or Jim's got a bunch of songs. I've been working on a couple of things. So we're working on stuff. We're just lazy, I guess. I don't know. Distracted, busy. We all got jobs, and there's kids involved, and I don't know. We're not hanging our hats up yet, but we should have something out pretty soon.
All right,
cool.
Working on something else too with Ced from Blazing Stone and how's the other band name? Yeah, but what's going on with that?
What was that? I missed it.
Oh, you didn't hear me? You were working on something with Ced from like Blazing Stone and his other bands. I forget what he's in, but what's going on with that project?
Oh, yeah, it's a little stalled at this point. We got out one single, and there's a couple other songs in the hopper. It's kind of a similar situation where there's like material floating around, and some people have done parts, and I don't know. We have to kind of regroup. One of the guys is in school and really kind of getting pounded with work with school and stuff. So it's moving forward kind of slowly at this point. Hopefully we'll pick up speed in a little bit.
Cool. I'll be on the lookout for it. Dad, the re-records actually sound very interesting to me. Actually, I'd like to hear them with the different vocals.
Yeah, we're going all the way back into the demos too. So there's a couple of really old tracks we're going to do. Yeah, I'm very curious about it too. I'm excited because I got to relearn a lot of the songs. I know how to play them somewhere in my head, but not can't sit down and just crank them out. So it's kind of and a lot of the early recordings are kind of bad.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to try to clean them up, kind of like an extreme aggression scenario, and clean up our sound on the older stuff without trying to lose all the gusto.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm excited about it too. We're all pretty excited.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can't wait to hear it. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's nice talking to you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We gotta get you on more often.
Yeah, I'd like
one of
that.
the best picks. So,
Yes, you do.
congratulations.
Just make sure they're not ones that we've already done.
I'll try.
All right, everybody. Well, check out. There is a website for Twisted Tower Die, right? TwistedTowerDie.com or what is it?
I don't know if we even have an actual website anymore.
Well, then I guess right.
We're on Instagram as of like 2 days ago. There's probably not much on there, but we're definitely on Facebook. And probably MySpace too, but don't bother going there.
I didn't even know that still existed.
Yeah,
I still keep getting emails from them. I guess there's something up happening. I don't know.
It's weird.
Can't be good.
But yeah, everybody go check it out.
Back, boys.
Yeah, it's coming back in a big, big way. But please go to review.com. Please buy a T-shirt. Plenty of shirts up there to choose from. I just made a new T-shirt with our mascot. Kind of cool. His name is Stanley. Take
Cool.
Stanley. Hashtag take Stanley home. Go buy a T-shirt.
Family.
I couldn't think of another name. Stanley just. He looks like
Tattoo.
what?
Tattoo.
I'm fine with that, but if we ever do like a little promo or something with him talking, he has to talk like Paul Stanley, but like live Paul Stanley. Like, hey baby, how we doing tonight? Whoa!
Do you like vodka?
Pull the trigger on my love gun and we'll hit the highway doing 69.
Oh, Dr. Rockstar, the rock and roll clown. I do cocaine.
It was a really funny one they did on Alive 3, and I can't remember what the hell it is. My friend always repeats it to me. I'll remember it after I do it. But I got Alive 3. He says a lot of really funny things on it. But anyway, see you guys next time. And again,
Thanks again for coming on, David. I
Thanks,
really
guys.
enjoyed this,
Appreciate it.
and look forward to both
Pretty cool.
what you got on doing with Twisted Tower Dyer in the future and your next picks.
Excellent.
Goodbye.
All right, take it easy, guys.
All righty. Have a good night.
Boom. See you later.